What's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your local problematic Leo, and today on maybe the daily grind, I really don't know what to title these things anymore. However, I did want to have a chat about Devstream 176 and focus on the things that I personally thought mattered. However, there is going to be a little bit of a lightning round that we're going to kick things off with that talk about the things that I think other people will think matter but don't necessarily weigh heavy on my heart. Then we'll go ahead and jump into the juicy stuff. So kicking things off, we are going to have a Mirage Eclipse rework. Now, for those of you guys who aren't necessarily heavy into Mirage, there is a little bit of a bug going on, and I think it's happening because of the new lighting systems that they've implemented, where literally you could be standing in super full-on light and not get the damage bonus, but get the defense bonus and vice versa. So they're actually going in and kind of taking some suggestions as to how they should fix it, whether you'll just toggle between the two, or they're going to actually rework the ability to do something not necessarily completely different, but work in a different way. So I find that kind of interesting. Next up, we have the Cavea affection. You'll be able to pet your Cavea. It's not really important, but it is kind of adorable. However, it does segue into the next bit where they're going to be adding, I don't know if they're going to add a new node, but they are going to introduce disruption into the new Entrati Labs maps. Is it Entrati Labs? Yeah, it's Entrati Labs. And I personally like disruption, but they're going to introduce it with a little bit of a twist. So that's going to be kind of fun. And then last but not least, there is going to be an Archon Shards, not necessarily rework, but they're going to allow you to combine multiple of your regular Archon Shards to create a Tau Forged Archon Shard, which I think is pretty good if you're overflowing in them. However, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't do it enough. I should do it, but I don't do it enough to actually like have an overabundance. I've got abundance, not an abundance. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let's go ahead and start talking about the things that really struck heavy into my soul. I actually feel like this one was a little bit of a personal attack, and this is gonna be a quick mention, but they did say they're gonna be releasing a new set of augments, and there's gonna be a considerable amount of them. And so I was like, oh, interesting. And then Mr. Pablo leaked that one of the new augments would be for Loki. I did not know if we were going to get another Loki augment because, you know, we've got one for each of his abilities. However, Frost did get that really sick one where legitimately I think if the enemy is frozen you get bonus critical, I don't know if it's critical chance or critical damage, it's in my build somewhere, but legitimately I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And I'm like, oh my god, what if they're gonna do something cool for Loki, maybe when he's invisible? Oh my god, I am so freaking excited. So I hope it's good, but I do have a feeling that it's gonna be like a bait and switch. They're going to be like, haha, Rob, you've started playing the game again, and we're going to give you a Loki augment, and it's going to be trash. I'm like, oh, my soul. Next up, I wanted to go ahead and talk about Dante Unbound, the new, most erotically named update that they're going to be releasing. And the big thing that comes with this is going to be a new Warframe. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The name of the update is far sexier than the way that this Warframe looks. He kind of looks like maybe a spearhead or like an arrow or something. And he is a wizard, which, see, it already loses me. I don't like casters. And in any RPG I've ever played, I don't love casters. But he's going to have an exalted tome, which a part of me is like, oh, how's this going to be? Because I didn't even really like the tome weapon that much. And maybe some of you guys out there are really going to like it. But he's going to have a tome in one hand and a quill in the other. And each of his abilities kind of like, I think the ultimate records the last two abilities that they used. And then it translates into part of the ultimate. And you'll actually be able to see it in the writings. Now, the visuals that they actually did for the energy effects for this ultimate did seem kind of cool, but I don't know. I'm going to have to see how he looks in game, because right now, I don't know. I don't like the helmet's a little weird. I'm not into it. It's like a little hood. It's odd. But you know what does look absolutely fantastic? I actually have little tabs up right now. I'm so excited. It's just going to be the Styx Deluxe. Now, at first, listen, I love me a good Liger Zanuka. He's an amazing, amazing artist. But sometimes, you know, his work doesn't necessarily translate super well into the game. So when I first looked at this, I was like, ooh, that's really gorgeous, but how is that gonna work when we're actually in the game? Because it looks a little bit Aztec. I love the helmet detail that they've got. The spear looks gorgeous. I love, he's just a very, very talented artist. And then we get into the in-game renderings, and I'm like, okay, from far away, it looks a little bit odd. You know, I'm gonna, of course, want to play with it when it gets in-game. And then they did some close-ups of the texture of the skin. Looks a little bit like a crystalline lizard man. However, I think it's gorgeous. And is that nipple tassels? Is it me? Does he have nipple tassels? He's got like little nipple covers. I don't know. But I think the weapon looks gorgeous. The helmet looks gorgeous. The texturing on the skin is absolutely beautiful. The shield, pretty good. I mean, as compared to everything else, because everything else is super top tier. So the shield, not bad, not bad. So it's actually modeled all out. I'm waiting for it to come through because I have not tried the Styx builds yet. Well, I mean, I have the build, but I haven't like sat down and tried to perfect the whole overguard build. But I'm ready. And then finally, I think the last thing that I did want to have a quick chat about is going to be the Inaros rework. Now, they actually addressed the thing about Inaros that I like and also dislike. I like the fact that Inaros, basically, he's just a great body. You know what I mean? He got a good body. You can bring him into any missions. He's really just not going to die. But the rest of his kit is kind of bland. You know what I mean? Like, his number one activates a good set of arcanes, which I find interesting because it's on finishers, right? But the rest of his kit, like, really what we doing? You know, his ultimate is just like, oh, I'm going to give you more armor for the trade of your health. And then I feel like there's some defenders of his, like, sandstorm attack. No. Like, what? And then his devour mechanic, no, not even. And then his, his sand shadows. It's just like, none of it, all of that kind of gets lost in the sauce, right? So I'm really excited to see what they do. They did say that power level wise, they weren't necessarily going to increase him by much, but instead maybe increase the interest in his play. Because right now it's really 1 and 4, and 4 you just turn on. Really, that's really all you do with it. And then you just go about the mission being nearly unkillable, right? So I'm really excited to see what they do with that, mainly because of the fact that while I don't like his base skin, his prime armor, ooh, is best sexy. And it's kind of sad because it's wasted on a frame that's absolutely boring. But those were all of the bits that I found interesting. There's nothing left on my list that I really wanted to touch on. I'm assuming that everybody here has probably already watched the Devstream. I probably should have put that at the very beginning of this video. But let me know if there's anything else that I glazed over that maybe wasn't on my list but is important to you, or if there's anything that you wanted to chime in personally on your feelings about the things that we've talked about today. Let me know down in the comments below, or if you guys have any video requests for me that I can kind of assess and see if that fits in my day, toss that down in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your nipple tassels. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.